In 2026, median net worth isn't just a spreadsheet, it's a clinical diagnosis of a society conditioned to fail. The Matrix sold you middle class stability, but the data reveals a slow descent into financial irrelevance. Whether you're starting out in your 20s, anchoring a family in your 40s, or approaching the 60s endgame, we are dissecting the cold, hard data for every decade to help you escape the gravity of the median. This isn't about a nice retirement, it's about total financial sovereignty, the cheat code the elite use to build fortresses while the masses build sandcastles. In this video, we will provide the 2026 benchmarks, the targets, and the timestamps for your specific journey. Before we reveal the first decade, how old are you right now, and do you feel ahead of the curve or trapped by the system? Comment below. Let's find out where you truly stand. The era of volatile potential. The 20s. In your 20s, the world views you as a blank slate, but the numbers tell a much more violent story. As of the latest 2026 data, the median net worth for those in their 20s stands at a staggering $6,689. Compare that to the average, which sits at over $127,000. This massive disparity is your first lesson in the brutal reality of wealth distribution. The average is skewed into the stratosphere by a tiny percentage of high performers, heirs, and tech visionaries. The median is where the crowd lives, barely keeping their heads above water. If you have $7,000 to your name, the system says you are doing fine. We say you are one flat tire away from a total collapse. Net worth is the only scoreboard that matters. It is the sum of your total assets minus your liabilities. If you have $10,000 in a checking account and $20,000 in a retirement fund, but you are carrying $50,000 in student loans, your net worth is negative $20,000. You are not starting at zero. You are starting in a hole and the walls are crumbling. By the time you hit 30, your target is $52,022. This is not a suggestion. This is the law of initial momentum. Fidelity standards dictate you should have 1 times your annual salary saved by 30. Since the median U.S. income at this age is approximately $52,000, this is your baseline for entry into the world of real capital. To hit this, you must follow 3 immutable laws. First, the law of toxic interest. You must annihilate consumer debt. Credit cards and buy now pay later schemes are financial parasites designed to keep you in a state of perpetual servitude. Any interest rate over 10% is a leak in your fortress. Student loans are only acceptable if they are the fuel for a high-return career. If you are paying interest on a dinner you ate 3 weeks ago, you have already lost. Second, the law of the 20% threshold. You must invest at least 15 to 20% of every dollar you earn. The S&P 500 historically returns 8%. If you earn $60,000 and maintain a 20% investment rate, you are on a trajectory to hit $2.2 million by your 60s. If you wait until your 30s to start, that number is cut in half. In your 20s, time is your greatest leverage. Do not trade it for a depreciating German car. Third, the law of cognitive appreciation. Your greatest asset is not your bank account, but your ability to generate high-value solutions. Use your 20s to experiment. Learn database management, high-stakes negotiation, or digital architecture. If you can turn a $60,000 salary into a $120,000 income through skill acquisition, you have effectively doubled your life force. Look at the median number for your current age group. Are you comfortable being part of the 50% that is barely surviving, or are you an outlier? Comment your age and tell us if you are leading the pack or fighting for air. The decade of structural stakes, the 30s. Welcome to the 30s. This is where the game gets heavy. The median net worth jumps to $24,580, while the average rockets to $321,549. Notice how the gap is widening. The elite are now pulling away, leaving the crowd in the dust. If you remain at the median, you are projected to retire with less than $300,000. In 2026, that is not a retirement. It is a slow fade into poverty. By age 40, your target net worth is 3 times your annual salary. For the median American earning $61,970, that means $185,910. But for those of you aiming for a $100,000 income, your target is $300,000. This is the decade of the sandwich. You are trapped between the needs of your children and the declining health of your parents. If your financial structure is weak, this decade will crush you. First, you must achieve debt neutrality. Everything except your mortgage must be deleted. Your 30s are your prime earning years. Carrying high-interest debt now is like trying to run a marathon with a lead vest. You need every ounce of compounding power to work for you, not against you. Second, you must guard against lifestyle anesthesia. As your income rises, the temptation to upgrade your life will become a siren song. Resist it. Buying a larger house or a luxury SUV is just another way of building a golden cage. Keep your expenses static while your income scales. This is how you manufacture the capital required for the next level. Third, the law of the opportunity fund. The traditional 3 to 6 month emergency fund is for the average. The elite keep 6 to 12 months of liquid cash. This is not just for emergencies like a child needing surgery or a roof collapsing. It is for the business venture that presents itself when the market bleeds. In your 30s, liquidity is your shield and your sword, the great bifurcation. The 40s. In your 40s, the median net worth is $76,479. The system thinks this is acceptable. It is a disaster. To be on track for a sovereign retirement, Fidelity recommends 6 times your salary by age 50. For a $65,000 earner, that is $390,000. If you earn $100,000, you need $600,000. The 40s are the most divergent decade. Some are living a life of absolute freedom, others are drowning in tuition fees. But here is the grim reality that the charts hide. Data in 2026 shows a massive racial and sector wealth gap. If you are starting from a marginalized background or a declining industry, the median is not your goal. You are climbing a mountain against a 50-mile-per-hour headwind. For you, the standard rules aren't enough. You must be twice as aggressive. You must also establish your exit velocity. This is your retirement number. Calculate your expected withdrawal rate and work backward. If you do not know the exact number required to walk away from the system, you are still a prisoner. Finally, you must implement legacy insurance. This means a comprehensive estate plan, a living will, power of attorney, and a trust. If you have dependents, leaving your assets to the mercy of the state is a betrayal. The elite do not leave their wealth to chance. They lock it down. The oxygen depletion zone, the 50s. This is the big leagues. The median net worth reaches $192,964, but the average has crossed the $1 million mark. This is the final divide. By 60, you need 8 to 10 times your salary. For a $62,000 earner, that is $496,000. But on this channel, we want you at 1.2 million minimum. Why is the 50s decade so dangerous? Because your room for error has vanished. In your 20s, a bad investment costs you money. In your 50s, a bad investment costs you your dignity. Let us look at the hard data the average person ignores. According to current healthcare projections, an average couple retiring in 2026 will need approximately $315,000 just to cover medical expenses in retirement. If your median net worth is only $192,000, you are already bankrupt before you even stop working. Furthermore, you are fighting shadow inflation. While the official CPI might say 3%, the things the elite care about, quality healthcare, prime real estate, and private education, are inflating at 7 to 10%. If your portfolio is not yielding a return that exceeds this shadow inflation, you are getting poorer every single day. In your 50s, capital preservation is the priority. You must shift your allocation toward lower volatility. You must also take advantage of catch-up contributions. In 2026, the 401k limit for those over 50 is $32,500. That is an extra $8,000 of tax advantage fuel. Compare this to the $20,500 limit for those under 50. Similarly, the IRA limit jumps to $8,600 from the standard $7,500. Do not leave this on the table. This is the system giving you a final chance to repair a leaky bucket before the winter comes. We all have that one financial mistake that keeps us up at night. Maybe it was a bad investment in your 30s or a decade of overspending. Sharing it takes away its power. What is the one financial regret you are working to fix right now? The final frontier, the 60s. The median net worth for those in their 60s is $290,920. The average is $1.57 million. If you have followed the laws, you should be aiming for 20 times your income. Having 20 times your salary saved allows you to live on the interest without ever touching the principal. This is true financial immortality. At 60, your house must be a paid-off fortress. The mortgage should be a memory. Your children should be independent agents. Your only job now is to finalize the transition. No more guessing. You should know your financials with the precision of a Swiss watch. Most withdrawal rate rules are between 4 and 4.7%. This means you need 20 to 25 times your annual expenses. But remember, the elite spend less in retirement because their major expenses, mortgages, and child rearing have vanished. They don't downsize because they have to. They downsize because they no longer need to impress people they don't like. Your 60s should be the decade of total stress-free existence. You take your Social Security, you manage your assets, and you enjoy the legacy you built. If you are still working because you have to at 67, you didn't fail the system. The system failed you, and you let it. Financial freedom is not a destination. It is a radical departure from the norm. The data we discussed today proves that the average path leads to an average life, which in 2026 means a life of scarcity. The 1% are not lucky. They are disciplined. They understand that every dollar is a soldier in their army. If you treat your money like a tool, it will build you a palace. If you treat it like a toy, it will leave you in the cold. As for those of you still watching, here is the hard truth the banks will never tell you. The greatest risk you face in your 50s and 60s is not a stock market crash. It is the inflation of your own expectations. Most people fail to retire not because they did not have enough money, but because they did not have enough purpose. Without a mission, you will bleed your capital dry on things that do not matter. Your net worth is your power. Use it to buy your time back, not to buy more clutter. If you have made it this far, you are part of the 1% who actually finish what they start. Comment the words, "I am awake," to let us know you are ready to implement these laws and reclaim your future. If this video brought you value, like it and share it with someone who is still sleeping on their potential. Subscribe to join the Visionaries, the community of builders who are redefining what it means to be wealthy. Your journey to sovereignty is just beginning. Now click on the video on your screen to learn the exact steps to calculate your retirement exit number. Move fast. Time is the only resource you cannot earn back. See you in the next one.